Perhaps you've seen this puzzle. There are 9 dots on a page, arranged in a 3x3 matrix. Now, the challenge is to connect all 9 dots with 4 straight lines, or fewer, without lifting your pencil or retracing your path. Now, if you haven't done it before, or it's been a while, give it a try. Pause the video, get out a piece of paper and a pencil, and give it a shot. Now, come back when you're done. Okay, not as simple as it looks, is it? Now, before I show you the solution, let's look at the solutions most people try first. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that gets all but 1. Well, you knew that wouldn't work, right? I mean, that'd be too easy. Now, how about a crisscross pattern? No, that doesn't work either. Zigzag. No, maybe start in the middle. No. Oh, triangles. How about triangles? Oh, that's awful. You know, this would be a lot easier if we could just relax one of the conditions. You know, if you could use 5 lines instead of 4, or if you could pick up your pencil, or maybe retrace your steps, then it'd be easy. There are just too many constraints. In fact, maybe it's not even possible. Well, how about this? Instead of getting rid of the constraints, what if we added one more constraint? And it sounds counterintuitive, and it is, but let's see what happens when we do. Let's add a 4th constraint that all of your lines have to be inside this box. Now, at first, that doesn't look like help, right? All your lines were already inside that box. But when most people attempt this problem the first time, they restrict themselves to the perimeter of the 9 dots. They stay inside an imaginary box that they imposed on themselves. And then, try as they might, there's just no legitimate solution in that box, at least not one I've found. The only legitimate solutions are found once you give yourself license to extend your lines outside the imaginary box you were thinking in. Once you do that, several creative solutions quickly come to mind. The most popular one looks like this. And then some people draw fatter dots and make a solution that looks like this. Humans need some frame of reference to think within. And if you don't give them one, they'll construct one for themselves. So the way to get people to solve problems like this quicker isn't to tell them, think outside the box. It's to draw them a bigger box. When you do that, you force them to consider the space outside the smaller box. So if you can't just tell people to think outside the box, what can you do to get them to consider that unused space? Well, one of the best ways is storytelling. Tell them a story about someone else facing a different problem who found an outside-the-box solution. It doesn't even have to be in the same industry. There's something about hearing a story about someone exploring the space outside their box that triggers people to consider the space outside their own box. For example, I once heard of a manufacturer of window unit air conditioners that wanted to know how much more consumers would pay for an air conditioner that was significantly quieter than regular ones. Now, of course, they couldn't just ask consumers, how much more would you pay for a unit that only produces 35 decibels of sound, right? Nobody would know what that meant. What they needed were lots of prototypes with different noise levels to put in front of consumers to listen to. Now, the problem was they hadn't actually invented any of these quieter units yet, hence the challenge to the consumer research people. But what they decided to do was brilliantly simple. They installed what looked like regular air conditioners, one regular air conditioner in a window unit at a test facility. Only in this unit, they'd taken out the guts of it and they cut a hole, a 4-inch diameter hole in the back. And then they ran a flexible duct out the back of that unit to a room down the hall where it was connected to the front of a real air conditioner, the loud kind. And then when consumers in the test lab turned on the new air conditioner, crisp cold air came out, but almost without a sound. And then by varying the distance to the real air conditioner, they could vary the sound level. Now, that's a classic outside-the-box story. Even if you don't work in the air conditioning industry, a story like that can help you think of quick, simple, and cheap solutions instead of slow, expensive, and sophisticated ones. Now, there's a link in the description to that and one other outside-the-box story that can help your team be more creative. So the next time your team needs a little boost of creativity, don't tell them to think outside the box. Draw them a bigger box by sharing a story like this one. Now, if you'd like more help with your stories to help your organization be more creative, check out Chapter 26 of my book, Lead with a Story, or reach out to me at leadwithastory.com. Good luck with your stories.